All righty then. Before we go to the main event, the world title match, let's get to the meat of the matter. R-Truth is back in the WWE. Of course, everybody knows that. We just talked about his appearance on Money in the Bank, but all of a sudden he popped up on Raw at ringside, and this was the best thing that I've seen from any company in a little while. Because they not only capitalized on a situation, but they've made it better. They didn't just bring goofball R-Truth back to do stupid shit and do comedy. They brought him back for whatever period of time that they've signed him for. We don't know if it's a full 3 or 5 year contract, or we don't know what it is, but they're going to do this halfway seriously. He got up on the desk and he addressed everybody, and they're all with it. And he said, "I'm back. I'm the truth. I'm nothing but the truth," and blah, 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 all the truth stuff. But he said, but sometimes truth can be too funny. Truth can be too friendly. Truth can be too nice. And he takes out scissors and fucking cuts his, are those dreadlocks? Or since there was only like 3 of them, the braids or whatever the exact terminology would be, he cut those off his head, and the people started chanting, "Holy shit." You got a lot of these idiots in all these companies attempting to paralyze themselves, and people are sitting there eating popcorn. And this guy cuts 3 braids off of his head and gets "holy shit" from 15,000 people. Because they're into it, and now they feel like they've done something. He thanked all of them. He says, "Because of you. You wanted the truth." So they feel like they've got some power. He was over to begin with because they liked him, but now he's over more because they feel like they have an emotional investment, a personal investment in him. They helped get him back. But when he cut the hair off, he said, "I am Ron Killings." He's going by his real name. He's admitting that he's been just a comedy stooge for a while, but he's in effect saying that I'm not going to waste this opportunity and I'm going to be fucking serious. And everybody gets what? Ron Killings gets the name Ron Killings on TV for however long this lasts, so that after that he can transition to doing indies, whatever. The people got what they want, and they have put this guy in a position where, because if they just brought Ron Killings back and had him come out and do some funny comedy, the people would have been happy with it. But now they've positioned him with this one promo that he did so fucking well, where you could actually book him in upper matches now, and he can be taken seriously, especially because he can work. If he's not doing the goofy stuff, if he's playing it a little straighter, he's still going to be entertaining and funny and blah, blah, blah. But you can put him in some positions now where the people will be behind him as a real human being instead of a gimmick. Because that's what he said. "I'm not just a gimmick." So they turned a negative into a positive, and actually ended up, and I'm not saying they just stumbled into this, because obviously they did the wrong thing to get to the right place first, but they've made it better. They've made him more valuable by just recognizing not only that the people wanted him, but okay, we can't bring that middle card underneath guy, comedy guy back at a lot of money, but boy, we've got an opportunity now to take him in a different direction, and they saw it and they did it. So this was my favorite thing.
It's going to be interesting to see the reaction going forward, because again, fans, I guess there were different outcries. Wrestlers who took to social media were unhappy that Ron Killings was no longer going to be in the locker room. Fans were unhappy that R-Truth was no longer going to be in the company. Some because they thought he should have a job for life, some because they love his segments, some because of the way he had just been booked, including like the #1 selling shirt they had. Do the fans want Ron Killings? Or do they want a better pushed R-Truth? You know what I mean?
Well, they're going to get both. Because and see, here's the thing: the wrestlers who were upset because we loved him in the locker room. Well, fucking grow up and figure out how the world works. Jesus Christ, that is totally nothing to be in any way contemplated by the TKO management. Whether the boys are mad because we fired somebody.
Yeah, if you're Carlito, how do you feel right now? You're like, man, no one took the fucking social media. Like, bring back Carlito.
Well, but no, Carlito's smart to the business, and he knows it. It's because he didn't have a funny fucking gimmick where he got to do heartwarming shit all that time. It's a different fucking picture. But the point is, nobody gives a shit what the boys thought. But the fans, okay, the fans are crying out for us to bring this guy back. Okay, well, we can consider that. But are we going to bring back the same middle card, as I said, underneath guy doing funny segments every once in a while just to give people a feel-good experience, or are we going to try to do something with him? And part of doing something with him to put him higher up on the card where the people that wanted to see him get his job back and want to see him prosper, they obviously want to see him higher up on the card. Well, they can't do that with the fucking guy that don't know everybody's name, but they can take that guy, not take all of his comedy away, but give him a purpose to prove to the people that he can be more than what he's been. So he's doing this for them. He's going to be more serious or straighter and trying to compete with top talent because he wants to reward the people for believing in him. That works. And he can work. So then you get a motivated guy that can work with a little, a mission, a purpose, and the people will be with it. And this was done very well. Now, so yes, you don't care whether you don't listen to, because you can't base it on whether the boys are upset you fired a popular member of the roster. That makes no difference whatsoever in business. But if the people who are watching the shows and buying the tickets are upset about it, then you might better find a way to make them happy. That's why we talked about it last week on the show. I said, I can see a guy 53 years old has been there for 20 years and been used in an underneath spot and making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Yeah, he'd be a good candidate to be let go. But right now, odd timing. They thought, well, we'll get something, one more little thing out of him. We'll let him do the thing with Cena. It uses up a Cena match, but he ain't going to get hurt, blah, 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 before we let him go. That's what they were thinking. But that's why I said, even just with the amount of merchandise that he was selling. And at that particular point, why not do something short term to keep him involved? And we don't know what the term is here, but it was odd that they would do the timing was bizarre, and that helped in the fans getting behind Truth and getting him back there. But also, apparently, from what we're being told, they started calling him back, Brad, and he wouldn't answer the phone right away. And I don't blame him, because he had to know they weren't calling him to fire him again. Right? Okay, you've called me and you've said, well, not fire him, but we're not renewing you. Okay, a couple of days later, when everybody's stirred up about it on the internet, they're not going to call him again to reiterate that he's fucking not being renewed. He had to know. As soon as they called him back, I got you motherfuckers. And then he didn't answer the phone, and he waited for Nick Khan to call him. It was the same thing when...
Man, that's going up the ladder. That's
well, when they pissed me off about my car windshield and I went home and Vince called, I didn't call back. Bruce called, I didn't call back. And then JR called. I called him because I wasn't mad at him. But they were thinking, oh shit. So he did the same thing. He waited until the person he wanted to talk to called, and then he took the call. And that was perfect. And again, for this amount of publicity and for this spot on the pay-per-view, you couldn't buy that spot. It had to happen like that. So Nick Khan knew, fuck it, with the amount of money we're taking in and the parameters that we're running under these days, to give this guy $500,000 just come do this show probably wouldn't be a big fucking deal. So, but I like it. They're elevating truth. He got what he wanted. People got what they wanted. Of course, Triple H said, yeah, it's all part of the show.
All part of the show.
Well, everything is all part of the show. That show called life. But this wasn't.
Don't look behind the curtain. Don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah. They didn't mean to do it this way. And it wasn't planned, but it worked out for everybody pretty much for the best.
Do you have to do Ron Killings, John Cena now?
Well, that's the thing is they've done R-Truth versus John Cena, but they haven't done Ron Killings versus John Cena. But I would save that. I would let him be a thorn in the side. But I'm wondering if Cody is going to end the reign, whether it's the last night or whether they have time for John to try to turn back babyface or whatever. If they're going to put it back on Cody, I'd save R-Truth, or I'd save Ron Killings versus Cena for right before that, so that with Cena beat him, it would be a fuck, but then Killings would be there to help Cody come in and shoot the angle. And because you don't want to, you can't have Ron Killings come out now and be Ron Killings, and then anybody beat him immediately, or then you've just fucked the whole thing up to begin with. That would be like the children over in AEW. The wins don't matter and losses don't matter. Let's just have a good match. No, the last part of this puzzle is going to be make Ron Killings competitive. Let's see him win a few things, and let's definitely don't see anybody beat him right quick. Let him be the thorn in the side. Give him little triumphs, little small triumphs, or let him be in the right place to help other top baby faces. And then finally, you fuck him up right before the ultimate baby face fucking brings the hammer down. But at least they got somewhere to go.
This is taking the Vince McMahon version of Ron Killings completely out of the picture, because R-Truth was a Vince McMahon thing. He wasn't like that in TNA. He wasn't like that in his previous run in WWE as K-Quick or whatever it was.
Yeah. And I mean, he can still be a happy, funny guy, but that ain't the only reason he shows up. He can do that backstage in a fucking pre-tape, but if he comes out in front of people, he needs to be Ron Killings now.
What do you think of this sort of turnaround? And again, it happened because he went public with the fact that his contract wasn't being renewed. It caused the fans to really speak out. It caused him to trend. It caused people chanting his name. They went in there and immediately made a new deal as fast as they can get to him, preventing him from going anywhere else. You know, I brought up, would it be worth it to AEW to have him around the show? That was kind of as a comedy figure, not even thinking about the idea of a serious Ron Killings showing up.
Well, but it wouldn't have worked.
It probably wouldn't have. You're right. But I'm saying they did not want anyone else taking advantage of what positive momentum there was behind Ron.
Well, again, I'm looking at it the other way. I don't think he would have done any appreciable business for AEW whatsoever. You're taking something out of context. You're taking somebody out of their environment. Yes, the fans would, oh, it's R-Truth, he's over there now. But it would have just got lost in the shuffle like everything else. Nick Khan saw that they had a chance to do something to increase WWE business, not hamper AEW business. I'm not saying they wouldn't do that. But in this case, no, they weren't worried about. They might have been worried about R-Truth signing with AEW before they could get him back because they wanted him back. But they didn't think, oh my God, we can't let him go to AEW or the ship is sunk. They just wanted him back because they saw, oh shit, we've stumbled into something here we can really fucking run with. It's more of a benefit for the WWE to have Ron Killings on the roster than it is a benefit for AEW to have Ron Killings on the roster, no matter what gimmick he's portraying.
Well, here's the other thing. If they hadn't signed him, what was the finish of the pay-per-view going to be? Of the tag team match?
Well, that's a good question. I'm sure it was still going to be Cody beating Cena, but it wasn't going to be with Ron Killings in the middle of it. So they would have come up with some finish that probably after that match wouldn't have gotten over as well. I can't imagine what they could have done without Killings to get over as well as they did with him.
Could Killings versus Cena be the main event of one night of SummerSlam? Is it that big or is it not that big?
Now we're pushing things. I mean, I don't see that. I don't see that, but I could have seen, honestly, Ron Killings versus John Cena in Saudi Arabia and Punk and Cena at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree.
But one way or another, he'll get a chance. He'll get a shot.
Do you worry about any resentment from the booker? If you go home and say, I'm not taking your calls, I'll wait till your boss calls. Do you risk getting residual resentment going forward?
He didn't say that. He didn't pick up the phone and say, I'm not taking your call. I'll wait till your boss calls and hang up the phone again. He just didn't answer the phone. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Triple H is that fragile and or unfamiliar with how the boys think that he's going to be upset because the guy that they just fucking basically said, you're done, see you later, wouldn't immediately return their phone call. Because there was some prickliness, I guess, still involved there. So I don't think it's going to be a big fucking deal.
All right. Well, that, of course, is one of the big things happening on Raw. And we still have a big main event to talk about. But, maybe this whole Cena run would be better off. Maybe the whole run would be connecting better with the audience if John was listening to some good music during the week while he worked out, while he got ready, while he conceptualized what he was going to do in that week's 12-minute promo. Maybe he's listening to the wrong thing. Maybe the sound isn't good enough. Maybe he needs earbuds that'll fit his ear and feel great. Raycon!
Maybe there's anything in there I could work with. I'll tell you one thing, that if he was listening to the Raycon everyday earbuds, then he might be happier, but maybe the fans would be more clear about things if they were listening to the everyday earbuds and you could have a recording of John Cena explaining this whole angle to you in detail. Sort of like an audio book where you could follow it along. That way you wouldn't be confused. Is there anything in there? What about everyday earbuds, Raycon?
Raycon every day.
Loud noises and words.
Everyday people. Sly Stone, unfortunately, just passed away, and
that's right.
I listen to a lot of his. I actually once listened to Sly Stone, Spaced Cowboy on a loop in the Seattle airport for like 6 hours waiting for an airplane on my Raycon.
And you were loopy at the end of it.
It was a good time. The West Coast
Sly Stone
back then. Yeah.
Passed away. I think he was 82 years old. I think his fucking liver was only 6, though. But folks, it's summertime. You're going to go outside. You got more daylight. Your time to be out and about.
Hot fun in the summertime.
Hot fun in the summertime. You're enjoying every moment from sunup to sundown, but you need entertainment while you're out there, or you're jogging and you're sweating and you're toting the barge and lifting the bale and digging the holes in the ground. And the Raycon everyday earbuds are the perfect summer accessory. You might be at the gym listening to some of that Pump Up the Jam music, or you might be laying out in the sun.
Pump Up the Jam? Who's listening to that?
Yeah, pump up the volume of the See, that's how you work out. Or let's say you're sunbathing
You listening
And
to
you
some
wanna listen
CNC
to-
Music Factory? What are you doing over there?
Yeah, you want to listen to sunbathing music
Sunbathing.
with some good music to sunbathe by.
What the hell is that?
Summertime and the feeling.
Oh, God.
is easy.
My ears.
Ah, see, and that's where your ears will be filled up with the Raycon Everyday Earbuds. So if the guy next to you on the beach is singing, you won't hear him, you'll hear the professionals.
Noise cancellation.
And the noise cancellation. So that way you can just hit that button and you'll cancel all noise. Everything immediately grinds to a halt and everything is a silent movie. And the Raycon quick charge function, 10 minutes of charging yields 90 minutes of battery. And we've mentioned with the summer thunderstorms, if you get hit by lightning, one lightning strike will give you 45 minutes of battery. But somebody else will have to listen to that music.
Well, again, let's not focus on that. That is not something anyone would want, and that's certainly not something someone could order on command. Let's talk about people who walk around listening to good music without the fear of lightning.
Yeah, you have to be real lucky to get hit by lightning. It doesn't happen often. It's a once in a million. It's like being hit by lightning. Folks, Raycons start at just half the price of other premium audio brands. So for the same price as you get one set of earbuds from the other folks, you could get two of these. And that means that you'll have a pair and a spare. So in case you put the pair in your ears and then the lightning hits, then you've got a spare. They come in a spectrum of vibrant colors to match your summer vibe. I wonder if they have lightning yellow. And the 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity, you can pair up with two devices at once. And depending on the local municipal ordinances on that beach, sometimes you can't pair with two devices at once on a public beach before 9 o'clock at night.
Again, not exactly the way it works or what we should be focusing
sometimes
on.
the kids are out there in the daytime, so they don't want to see you pairing with two devices at once. Unless...
Jim, the gerbil's running down the keyboard again. We have to make sure we stay on track and we tell everyone.
Well, the gerbil, I didn't mention the gerbil. I was thinking of a marmoset. But folks, and here's another thing about the Raycons. They offer look that up, Google that while I'm doing this. They're cute things. They offer a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy. No questions asked. So if you're not happy with your happiness, then it's guaranteed that you can return it and they'll not ask you anything. They won't even speak to you, much less ask you questions. They'll ignore you straight up because you're trying to get money back.
They won't ignore you. They will respond appropriately as they are committing to. They are great partners for you, for your ears.
They'll give you your money back.
Ear delight with Raycon.
Ear delights. They'll give you your money back, but they don't have to be nice about it, much less talk to you and praise you or compliment you or ask you questions or whatever. In good faith, you ordered these things. Now you're wanting the money back. And anyway.
Oh, you hear that? You know what that means.
Oh, I know what that means. BuyRaycon.com is where you go. BuyRaycon, BuyRaycon.com/JCE to get 15% off Raycon's best-selling everyday earbuds. BuyRaycon.com/JCE, 15% off. Everybody's listening to the Raycons with their own personal soundtrack.
That's right. Very popular here in the house, and I know Stacy loves her Raycons, and of course you can get your own Raycon by Raycon.com.
Every time I walk into the room, she sticks those things in her ear and turns them up all the way. I don't know if it's just convenient or coincidence. Every time I go in the room, she's got them in.
Once again, by Raycon.com/JCE.
That's it.